Welcome to the Crypto Compliance Podcast by Gatenox.
Welcome in Crypto Compliance by Gatenox, where compliance experts and practitioners are talking about current market events and general compliance aspects. My name is Paweł Kuskowski, and I'm hosting the show. Today we have a special guest, Mateusz Kara. Mateusz is the CEO of ARI10. He's also a recognized lawyer in the area of cryptocurrencies and payments. His experience is in lecturing at the university on the topics of law. He was also involved in a number of projects in the fields of compliance and fintech. I'm very pleased to have Mateusz. We spoke extensively about Binance, what's happening currently on the market with Binance, and what are the effects for other players in the market. What does it mean for compliance people? Because we saw, some of the consequences running into the compliance team. What does it mean for the general crypto market, and whether we see the new wave of CEO coming from law and crypto. So stay tuned and please watch us and like the show. Subscribe to our channel. This podcast is sponsored by Gatenox. Gatenox is the fast network and tailored corporate KYC solution. With Gatenox, you can onboard corporate clients by working in a trusted and compliant ecosystem with Web3 capabilities. Please also check our website, gatenox.com. Hi, Mateusz. Welcome in Crypto Compliance by Gatenox. I'm very pleased to have you here. You are CEO of ARI10. Tell me more about ARI.
Hi, thank you for the invitation. More about ARI. We started our company 2017. We started as a really simple crypto exchange. To be precise, just the Bitcoin exchange. So our main scope of activity was selling Bitcoins to people who wanted to enter the crypto market. So we started as a simple fiat crypto Onramp. Right now we are also Offramp for many years, since 2017. We have our three products. First is our online exchange. Then we have our stationary exchanges, more than 150 in Poland right now. And we are opening in other countries our offices also. And then we have our crypto gateway, which is really simple crypto on-ramp working on third parties sites. So it's basically our ecosystem. And since 2020, we also have our payment institutions. So not just the crypto, but also from the fiat side, we manage our payments on our own, with our own company.
Can you explain? I think it's pretty sophisticated ecosystem, but one of very interesting, and I think this is in so many ways confusing our compliance people. The OnrampOfframp Mechanism. What does it mean? In practice? Because I know that everyone knows in crypto space what does it mean, but effectively when you drill down into the details of the operations, right, and let's say how is it structured, that's something that it's I think for compliance people that's kind of eye-opener, and you need to be pretty sophisticated let's say payment person and compliance person to understand. So if you can just give us some overview how it works in practice and how it works, what type of components you have there.
Okay, so we called it gateway because it's simple as that. So you are just buying crypto with your fiat money, and it's called OnRamp because it gives you access to the crypto space using your fiat money. So you can pay by card or Apple Pay, Google Pay, or whatever alternative payment method you want to use. It's a different solution than the normal crypto exchange because we use our own liquidity for that. So we are buying crypto from us. If you want to use our OnRamp, you just pay us fiat money and we give you crypto, but our crypto. So our company sells you Bitcoin, for example. And the other way, Offramp works that you are selling your crypto to us and we pay you money for that crypto. So it's this kind of service. That's why it's different from exchanges, because exchanges connects sellers and buyers, and we use our own liquidity, our own crypto. I think it's easier, and from the compliance side, it's also better because we know who this crypto belongs to, because we are the owner of the crypto, and it's easier to check it. It's easier to be compliant with that kind of service.
Yeah. Yes, and I think, thank you for this explanation. That completely makes sense. And I think that's very interesting what is happening on the market at the moment, with Binance, with CZ, and how it actually plays out to our compliance, let's say, world. One thing which is, there's a couple of interesting outcomes or learnings which you have, which is one, whatever, how big you are or how small you are, compliance is pretty critical. That's, I think, because, we have another example, Bittrex, which is basically gone from the market. We just announced a couple of days ago that they suspend all the operations and they are actually going into liquidation. So we have Binance, which is a huge company, the biggest player on the market, who plead guilty, CZ stepping down, because majority of the allegations would be around AML compliance, sanctions breaches. So that's one. Then we see that Liam, who is the head of compliance, is also on the line, and I think this is something which is critical for compliance people to understand. But if you have brilliant CEO, you need to understand what CEO is doing, what company is doing, because you are on the line to for any of the actions. What's your view on this? Is it something that after what happened, did you had some in-depth conversation with compliance team in your company, or did you have any feedback from them?
Okay, it's really interesting because we scheduled this call some time ago and didn't see that coming just the day before our call. But it's really quite interesting. I think. I told that we didn't see it coming, but I think that we did see it coming to Binance. It was for 1 year the dark clouds were gathering, and we as a company, as RE10, we pay a lot of our time and focus on this compliance side. I have really good people working with us on our AML and compliance side, and I know that they working with this environment, they don't really feel 100% safe, because it's really hard to be 100% compliant in that kind of new market without the history. We don't really know what regulators think about our operations, so we need to manage everything ongoing and with really fast speed. So it's not that easy working with crypto and working with regulators. I think that many companies, especially in Europe, they struggle with the same as we here. That regulators don't really know how to approach our market. It's really fresh for them, and I think that they are not used to so fast changes. the financial markets grew for a really long time right now, and crypto is one of the fastest growing market for them. So we are both learning as a companies and as regulators, and we hope that with some kind of goodwill from the regulatory side, we can find good balance between our interests and their interests. So I will tell like that. But you told that the compliance officer was pledged guilty in the same way as CEO of the company, and I think that it's supposed to be like that because that's the main role of the chief compliance officer to help you also stop your business sometimes and understand that you are doing something wrong. So it's my idea about that.
Yeah, and I think another very interesting outcome is that the new CEO Richard Tang is actually former CEO of ADGM, which is the regulator, right? And there's some tendency, I think, there's some tendency, and there's something which is really interesting, that we see lawyers, compliance people like Iana Dimitrova from OpenPD coming into the, she was a lawyer and then she became a CEO. And we see Chris Donovan from Near, who was lawyer and became CEO of Near Protocol. So we see, which is quite unusual. I still believe it's quite unusual. I think, historically it was very few. Typically you had like very few lawyers who are becoming CEOs and becoming really, the leading face of the company. You yourself, you were a lawyer, right? Your story is very similar, right? You kind of, you were advising, and then suddenly, people understood, okay, these guys know his stuff, and, let's put him in CEO position.
It was like that, but I think that it's a growing trend because CVs of C-level employees are becoming more and more important for the regulator. If you are running a regulated company, licensed company, you need to show that you have experience and knowledge to do it. So that they are checking the CVs of people who are in charge of the companies. So I think it's one way, and the second way is that as I said, crypto is really complicated market from the regulatory compliance side. And if you want to do just business in crypto and don't think about this regulatory aspects, you can grow really fast and fall really fast, I would say. So the companies, crypto companies, which want to grow steady and having these aspects in mind, need to have some people. I am not saying that it should be a CEO, but somebody who can stop them sometimes and say, okay, maybe we should slow down, or maybe we should pay more attention to compliance sites. So I think it's like that, and sometimes is PR, I would say, that the regulators don't like us, so maybe we will give them somebody who they will understand and who will understand them. So
if your biggest stakeholder is actually regulator, right? You put someone who speaks the same language, right? But I think another point which just came to my mind is, if you look at Binance, like we knew for so many years that, some shady stuff is happening in Binance, right? They were trying to, fix everything, but this is almost like the growing speed was so amazing that they were almost like, progressing with the business and then fixing stuff. which is not the best, not the way you would typically advise company as a compliance person, right, to do. You should actually do this quite opposite. You should think about, okay, what does it mean in terms of consequences for the, from the regulatory point of view, compliance, law, all this different stuff. And suddenly we have CZ who is coming out from this like very extremely rich, right? I think, like he could be, I think, one of the, I don't know, top 10 richest people in the world at the moment, right? Like 4 billion is probably nothing. He can also print like this, this money. So it's like extremely wealthy person who broke so many things on the way in terms of regulations, in terms of compliance, in terms of law, and then ending up as like, doing settlement, okay, he's plead guilty, but he's not going to jail. He's actually going on holidays. So, I mean, what it tells, in your opinion, to other compliance or maybe business people in crypto, would you advise them to, really look at the compliance? I mean, like, to frankly, like I struggle to tell them not to push and not to break things. But go slowly and in the compliant way. What's your feeling? I mean, and now we don't have to. We can remove our cups for compliance people, but for business people.
Okay, for business people, I'm also a fan of growing companies. I'm not the stopper of the company. I think I have the most crazy ideas are mine. So in crypto, it's not easy to build something slow. It's a very fast changing market. And market with so much hype on new products, so much hype on new tokens, also, for example. So if you want to just sit there and wait, maybe it's a good idea if you are a really regulated company waiting for MiCA, and you have your user base, which that you can convert into crypto after the regulations. It's okay. But if you are really Web3 company started from crypto and wants to expand and also build a user base, because it's quite funny that crypto is about decentralization, but the market is really centralized. Binance showed it. Binance has so much market share right now that this market is one of the most centralized markets all around the world, I would say, with this one biggest player. So if you don't want to lose this competition, you need to grow fast. And
break things.
I'm not saying breaking things, but we can tell a lot about bad stuff that Binance did. But thinking about the risk management and the outcome of all of it, I don't know if it's the end. I think that regulators from other countries will have something to say right now also. But thinking just about the US. What they did, how much they earned, how much they expand, and what it cost them. Maybe it's the proper risk management. I don't really know.
True, 100%. And you mentioned, MiCA, right? That's the European landscape, which we are very familiar. And I also see companies, and that's interesting. Companies who are building companies which then they want to transition into MiCA compliant companies, right? So they're almost like anticipating that the law is coming and they immediately start building, and then at some point they want to switch on and move into the MiCA compliant world. So that's something which I believe it's again, like breaking things and, really going the way businesses are growing in crypto world. So from your point of view, the European law, do you think are we going in the right direction, or because there's so many of them there's so many regulations, so many different laws which you and the compliance team needs to follow. Do you think we are building something meaningful, or that's actually distracting and completely kind of building blockers?
I would say that time will show, because we are really waiting for the MiCA regulation.
Okay.
I hope that the market will change and change for the better. We will lose some bad actors on the way. So it will be positive impact. But on the other hand, we are not, just thinking about the MiCA regulation. The MiCA regulation is not the easiest and not the hardest regulation of which I saw. But we don't really know how our regulators will approach MiCA, will work with the companies who wants to be licensed. So it depends, I think, on the jurisdiction, and also on people who will be in charge of implementing MiCA. The most blockers right now in crypto space is not just the regulatory side, but also cooperations with other financial institutions and banks. So thinking about MiCA and European market, if MiCA will help with this kind of cooperation, if banks will be able to open accounts for the companies, then we can say that Europe is a good market to place your crypto company. But right now we have regulation in some jurisdictions, and they are quite similar to what MiCA will bring. But then also you have this real side of doing businesses in that jurisdictions. It's really not easy or almost impossible to have normal bank account, to have payment providers. So if this situation will not change after the MiCA, I would say that most of the companies will still look for the more friendly jurisdictions than Europe. But talking just about the regulation and not about this real business stuff, I think it's a good step. It will help us to clean the market and structure the market for the future.
What's your cooperation with banks look like at the moment? Obviously, you have huge exposure, because like if you do Onramp, Offramp, that's something that you pay out to the bank accounts, right? Or credit cards, So you definitely have this ongoing kind of relationship management with financial institutions. What's your experience? How it looks? What's the toughest one, or that? Give me some insights.
Okay, so it's not easy. We are operating. We have bank accounts, but I would say that I cannot say that any bank we cooperate with in the past or right now is really crypto friendly. We are 6 years in business right now. So after the 6 years, I think I know nearly all of them. And right now, I don't see that anything will change for the better in the next year, maybe after the MiCA. I know that there are some banks which are thinking about the crypto services on their own. So maybe it's some kind of cleaning market for them also. But telling about our speaking about our cooperation with banks and financial institutions, we needed to open our own payment services provider. because we cannot find anybody who wants to cooperate with us, or maybe who can cooperate with us. So I think it tells a lot about how it's going. We are not just the crypto, we are also a fintech company with our own payment license, and we are expanding also companies with the payment licenses in another countries. So it's easier to do it that way than to find somebody who wants to cooperate with us. So I think it tells a lot.
And I remember these discussions. So in Poland, the Compliance Association, which I was chairing for many years, we were first to actually put reference to the crypto assets in the AML regulations. So I remember having this discussion, and I was excited because I said, like, oh, if we have these crypto assets and crypto, the virtual asset service provider already defined in the AML provisions, then the banks cannot say that they reject cooperation with those because it's just a simple, risk management, and we need to treat them in the same way we treat, from compliance perspective, AML perspective, as payment processor, right? And it didn't happen, right? This is very interesting for me, because it's almost like main argument for them is that like crypto businesses are laundering money. Right. This is like, you don't do KYC, you don't do checks, and many crypto companies would do this much better than payments provider, banks, traditional banks. Like we have these banks in Poland which are the spółdzielcze, and this is like, in comparison with typical crypto business is typically technology savvy, and they understand the risk much better than those banks, those financial institutions. And still, this argument of you not having the right AML policies and procedures is crazy. This is like, how do you? You just simply say, the typical question, right? The typical question. Let's deal with this, and we don't know what's going to be the outcome. Like how? Is it still typical question? Is how do you handle the AML stuff, or we don't believe you handle this in the right way from the banks?
Most of the times there is no dialogue at all. But if it comes to that, it's the main thing that they can check our systems, and I can tell you that we have really good systems. We are, I would say, as a payment services provider, we are one of the best on fraud transaction prevention. We can prevent transactions ongoing, real time, because that's how we work. Because if somebody's buying crypto with money, fraud money, and we sell them this crypto, there's no point of, there's no way to stop the money after that. So we spend a lot of time, effort, and money in building fraud prevention systems that can stop the transactions before the money is sent. The bank can check it. The bank, we can show them how it's working, but they don't really, I don't know, understand, or maybe they don't believe that it's working like that. And on the other hand, I don't really know if it's not the problem with the market, that for the banks, the market is still not so big. The crypto market is not so big. They don't have real procedures and systems that can help them to cooperate with crypto companies. And it's, just not some compliant problem, but maybe they don't see the point in investing in systems helping them to cooperate with crypto, because they don't see that they will earn a lot of money from that market. And it's better to de-risk it and not to cooperate with crypto companies at all. Maybe that's the case.
No, I think you're right. Like that's my conclusion, especially for the UK market. This is when I see the UK market is simply big enough for the banks to be happy and stay happy. And the biggest challenge is technology for them. So anything which is like not bringing enough money to explain the cost associated, it doesn't make sense, and we don't want to have exposure to this, right? On one side, on the other side, we kill as many players as possible, so we have time to catch up. I think that's another aspect, which is kind of interesting, right? US. On the other side, the European market, I think it is what it is. I think we understand the operations. Do you see the risk for your company or for company of similar, let's say, operations in Europe, that the US would be kind of reaching out and stretching the jurisdiction to European countries, and then going after, oh, you didn't follow the BSA or the SEC regulations, and you touch on this and that. Even though you fully compliant locally, you still have the US aspect for some reason, even if you don't touch clients from the US, right? What's your view? Are you worried about this, or do you consider this even as a risk?
Yeah, I think that most European companies I know don't want to cooperate with US citizens. So I think it's the answer to that question.
So you simply strike them off, right?
Yes. Yeah. And
but it's difficult, right? Because you have like people with double passports. I mean, you still have this type of exposure, right?
Yeah, it's you cannot be 100% sure that
exactly
you have no US citizens as your customers. So, but maybe it's from my point of view, and maybe we are just too small. We are. We focus most on the European market and don't think about going to US right now. So maybe that's why I'm not thinking about it nearly at all. And I don't think that there's a real danger for our business from the US regulator. Okay, but if we are talking about other crypto companies from Europe, and I know some companies that want to expand their operations in the US also, because it's the biggest market right now, or the easiest market to collect money from investors. So I think that's why they think about the US mostly. So operating from US and Europe, I think it's not the best idea, in my opinion, because
so combining these two regions
under the one brand, one name and one structure. So just looking on what's going on in the United States with crypto, I will be a little bit afraid of entering the market right now.
Yeah, I think like Binance is a perfect example, right? This these guys try to enter, but they try to enter, and then But another point on this is NFTs. I believe what's permitted under MiCA is not necessarily gonna be permitted under the US regulations. I think many of the NFTs could potentially become securities under the SEC regime, right? And that's something which is like, so you're building something that is fully compliant, then you suddenly expose, and you still can, they still can come and go after you, even though you're fully compliant in the region. And you think that all the lawyers who are advising you are all right and say that you can operate in the US, have US exposure, or even if you don't have US exposure, you can, you are fine. But then you have this, still you have this type of considerations, right?
You see that after the crypto market, there were not so many solutions that you can build globally, and crypto is decentralized and it's global from the start. So it's really hard to build something thinking about all the jurisdictions all around the world where people can buy your product, for example, NFT. So I think it's the problem that should be answered in the upcoming years, because more and more products will be built globally. And we need to find some way to be compliant, not paying lawyers from all around the world to check your solution, check your product. So I think it's one of the biggest problems with internet companies. Every internet company, every mobile app, not just the crypto, that need to be solved in upcoming years.
Yeah, and so moving on to the build, how to build proper compliance, right? And I know you have excellent team. I know some of your compliance people from past life. And tell me, what's your, let's say, approach to building the team, the framework? Like, what's your concern? What you typically see, what you build, what other don't. One of the example when I think about this is not many companies would think about quality assurance. I think that's one of the easiest way to do the sample testing and see the results of, KYC, transaction monitoring, and then review them manually in additional way to see whether, things work in the way we designed them to work. So what's your approach?
Okay, so maybe it was easier for me because of my background. I started at RE10 as a lawyer. But I was also a shareholder, so that's why I ended up in a CEO position. But my previous career was not just working with this one crypto company. First, I started working with a company which made IPO. So it was really regulated, and I was the person who was in charge in implementing some of the changes after the IPO. So that's why I was really young and I need to learn really fast how to do it. So it was easier for me to operate in unregulated market, thinking ahead of what would be needed after the regulations come into place. So maybe that's why we focus so much on this compliance side. And also we started as a really instant crypto exchange. So you can come to us, pay us fiat money, and instantly get your crypto. So we really fast need to focus on this fraud prevention, AML aspects, because if we didn't do it a few years ago, we will be just one big money laundering institution for all the scammers and fraudsters wanting to work on that market. And we didn't want it. We didn't want fast money. We didn't want dirty money. We wanted to build a steady company with normal clients and to help people enter the crypto market without all that bad stuff that's going on with crypto also. So that's why we spend so much time and money and effort on building good compliance team and good systems for our preventing our transactions.
So when you say good compliance team, tell me what criteria you use when you are employing people or you have been employing people to
It's really tough question because I don't have some structure of what I want from people before I hire them. It's more like while talking to that person, I really make my decisions if I think that they will suit the position.
But you're looking for knowledge, you're looking for experience,
okay.
you're looking for, because I think in compliance, like problem solving, and structure thinking, that's critical, like the rest you can learn, right? But, because compliance in some ways, it's quite easy, right? Once you understand the problem.
We were looking for people who worked in finance space in AML teams and compliance teams. It was the most important thing to us was a few years of experience in a bank or in a payment service provider, because we thought that they will know problems which are going ahead of us, and we can see it coming because our team, our founders team, was not so connected to financial market. So that's why we were looking for people with financial background, especially banks and payment institutions. So it's our main idea, because in crypto you cannot. And when we started 2017, it was impossible to find people with experience in crypto.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe it's easier, but it's still really hard, because I know that good people who have experience in crypto compliance are not looking for a job. They mostly learn how to do it in companies they started. And they stayed with the companies mostly.
Yeah, I think, the salaries are also getting higher and higher in compliance space, like this is what I see. And, I think, we're getting to the point when it's similar to the IT specialists, in this space. So that's something which is interesting. What's the most exciting part for you in crypto? Where do you think the market will be growing the fastest? NFTs, I don't know, the real world assets. What you're thinking about this? Where would you place your bets?
Okay, right now, the most crypto adoption I see in the gaming, and I will go that way. Because it's the best match. Gamers spend a lot of time, money on online, and also they spend a lot to buy stuff for just the online fun. So the perfect match is connecting Web3, crypto tokens, and also NFTs with real games. We had some games, Web3 games, last 2 years that they appeared, but they are quite simple, and I think connecting it to the AAA games, so the real good ones will make mass adoption faster. So I will bet my money on gaming. The other kind of tokens you talked about, real asset tokens. I would say we need to wait a little bit because it's gray regulatory area still. So with some time need to pass after we will know how to deal with them, how to make them, how to deal with regulators. So I will live a few more years with that kind of tokens.
So simply doing what we're doing right for the new markets, right? The gaming aspect, and I see this happening. I mean, the poor thing is that the games are really poor, right? And I think the other aspect is like buying skins. That's another big market. It's a huge market. Unless you're living and breathing this, you wouldn't ever say that. This is actually huge market and huge, let's say, transactions coming out from this. Mateusz, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
This was excellent. Mateusz Kara, RE10, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Crypto Compliance, brought to you by GateKnox.